Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. We are going to be continuing with the older, not wiser, exceptional story, and we are picking up right where we left off in the last episode, after meeting them. Wait, it's not a pub? Close enough. We're going to give the venerable crime gang the nod. You'd best get going before one of them decides to go for a nap. Excellent, let's get going. The prankish octogenarian nods at her elderly companions. We'll meet there. I'll show our newest member where to go. The gang splits up. Albert and the jaded sister leave through the gate in the backyard. The prankish octogenarian takes you out the front, past the now unmanned reception desk. You are engaged in criminal enterprises with a band of pensioners. Wonderful. The prankish octogenarian leads you to an upmarket flower stall on Lady Bones Road. This is where we encounter the target. He's a regular, still pretty fresh from the surface. Likes the little floral reminders of what life used to be. Bless. She glances down the road. I think we're ready. Pick where you'll wait. Make yourself obvious to us and scarce to everyone else. So we have two options. We can conceal yourself behind the vast collection of decorative fungus. The eye is both lured and appalled by the garish growths. Anyone glancing your way will immediately recoil, while poor for the self-esteem, this will be invaluable to your plan. Or we can have a cup of tea in a little cafe. You'll need to pay in advance in case you have to run. Best suggest that you're likely to be called away on an urgent matter, so that they're not surprised. Let's go with a cup of tea. I'm British, damn it. We're going to have a cup of tea. You spot Albert first, stopped by the window of a large bookshop. He makes eye contact with you in the window's reflection. He's ready. The jaded sister appears dressed as implacable governess. Her hair is pinned up tightly, her dress prim, meticulously maintained and faded. Her posture is ramrod, her expression granite. The prankish octogenarian bustles into the street. She is dressed as everyone's favourite grandmother. In an endearingly old-fashioned dress, her bag laden with sweet treats. She turns welcoming smiles on everyone she encounters. She stops to coo over a baby in its perambulator. Is that the proper word for a pram? Wow. Albert stretches. His outflung arms point down the road at a gangly youth. The mark. The mark has come into view. Time for action is now. The mark has paused by the flower stall to sniff the surface peonies. He lingers mournfully. It is apparent he cannot afford to buy them. This does, however, give the gang their chance. Already the decoy is making her move. We need to do our bit. The jaded sister has turned on a young couple dining outside the cafe. It is a perfect opportunity for some good old-fashioned moralizing. And where is your chaperone? The sister shrieks. Disgraceful! The jaded sister orders the dining youth to stand. Thank goodness I'm here. I'll wait while you fetch an appropriate chaperone. I don't have all day, so you best hurry. The youth splutters like a dying fish. He glances at his beloved and back to the jaded sister. After a moment of indecision, he turns, begins to run along the street. Albert and the prankish octogenarian casually funnel him into a collision with the mark. The prankish octogenarian is immediately there to soothe things. Oh dear, here, let me help you up. Would you like a sweetie? I'm sure you would. She's brushing shoulders, ruffling hair, forcing humbugs into hands. Her work is clearly done. The goods have been lifted. Now it's time for the handover. The pickpocket has done their bit. The decoy is winding up their performance. Albert is whistling tunelessly, an indication that the gang needs to disperse. Going to converse with a prankish octogenarian, you must get a little distance between you and the market before she can safely pass you her stolen goods. While you're walking together, you might as well talk. I knew we'd be fine, the prankish octogenarian sighs, but I wish you could see my sister as I know her. Once there was a time where she'd have jumped at this chance to get a bottle of brandy, to live forever. Can you imagine? To see what the world would bring. The octogenarian shakes her head. Her husband died just 4 days before the fall. 4 days. They'd been married 50-odd years. If he could have held on, he'd be with us now. He's never got over it. She sighs. Albert scares her. The small amount of brandy we can buy isn't enough. He's getting worse, which is why we have to do this. She doesn't want me to go through what she did, but I can't get her to see that I don't have to. We can have our lives forever. She hands you the journal. Take this. I'm going to double back. Check we weren't followed. You've been given the stolen item. You must head back to the clubhouse. The front door of the club is locked. To get in, you're forced to squeeze through a narrow alley and clamber over the yard wall. It is some while before the others join you. They come in through the bridge club entrance. I think that went well, don't you? The prankish octogenarian takes the journal from you and starts thumbing through the inky pages. I knew you'd be a useful member of the team. That's the wisdom that comes with age, she announces. Is she being serious? You can't tell. So let's ask about this journal. Does it have the information she needs? She passes the journal to her sister. It has the location of where the next consignment of brandy will be, but not the day and the time. She turns back to you. Don't worry, I've been working on this for a while. It's all part of the plan. The prankish octogenarian reaches for her handbag and pulls out a sheaf of notes. For you, as thanks for helping us so far. Oh, so we got a journal of infamy, compromising document, and a dubious testimony. The jaded sister pushes the journal back to the octogenarian. We don't have to do this. We shouldn't do this. The jaded sister's mouth twists with distress. Albert stands up, gives you an awkward smile, and heads inside without a word. Esme, are you frightened? For the first time you've seen, a look of irritation crosses the octogenarian's face. We have to do this. For Albert. It's not about Albert. I'm frightened of stealing the stuff. Not even from the widow. It's about what comes next. Forever. I can't imagine anything worse. The jaded sister shakes her head angrily. So we got two options. We can intercede in the row. They needn't resolve this now. The octogenarian made clear there's another step needed before they take on the widow. They are not yet committed. Or we can let them bicker. Albert had the good sense to withdraw. Perhaps you should do the same. Let's intercede. Two pairs of piercing eyes glare at you, almost without recognition. Then, simultaneously, both twins step back and apologize for their rudeness. They turn to each other, speak over each other. I know it's been hard, please, trust me. You've got to stop this. They lapse into silence, broken by the jaded sister. You old fool. I'll do one more, then we'll talk. The twins hug awkwardly. A long-haired cat has been watching this exchange from the yard wall. Jumps down and heads inside the bridge club. A few minutes later, Albert returns, a sheepish look upon his face. So we're on to the second stage of the scheme. Once the four of you are gathered, the octogenarian is straight down to business. This next one is a house job. Got to access a private office to get a diary. Albert, you're the eyes. She turns to you. You'll always be the legs. We need to choose a crackman and the muscle. She grins. We're both plenty capable though. If you're to join us permanently, I imagine you'll want to have seen this for yourself, so pick who does what. In case it helps you decide, you'll be working with the crackman. So we can pick the prankish octogenarian, should be the lock picker. We're going to be working at close quarters with the crackman. As such, you'd like said crackman to be her. Or she should be the muscle. Already had a chance to speak with the octogenarian. If she works as the muscle, you'll get a chance to know the sister. Well, since we worked with the octogenarian last time, let's talk to the sister. So I think the prankish octogenarian with her sword cane should be the muscle. We've seen her fend for herself anyway. The prankish octogenarian flexes her sinewy biceps and startles you with a loud cackle. I would love to say I could give as good as the Bishop of Suffolk, but my wrestling days are before me, if they're to happen at all. I take my opponent down in more subtle ways, she grins. Everyone has some residual guilt over at least one grandparent, if you dig deep enough. And I am just a poor, lonely old lady who's confused and lost her way in big, scary London. Wow. This woman is brutal. All the break-in rolls have been assigned. The jaded sister smiles tirelessly. Guess I'm taking the leftovers. The prankish octogenarian winces. You know that this role is as vital as any of the others. I'm only teasing, the sister makes an effort to bring warmth to her voice. It does not drive the look of worry in the octogenarian's face. But that leaves the jaded sister to be the lockpicker. She certainly has a sharp-edged mind, and she can break locks as easily as she can break spirits. You'll be through in no time. Look, the jaded sister holds out her hand in front of her. They shake less than a 20-year-old's. I have the steadiest in the business. The prankish octogenarian stands up and stretches, bending her neck from side to side. Her spine produces a series of crunching pops. That's better. Now we're ready. He looks at you. Us lot are good to go. Are you? We'll give them the nod. You're as ready as you'll ever be to commit a housebreaking against someone with information on the gracious widow's most prized property. Excellent. Albert, you head off first. Rest down for this one. The rest of us will meet you in the market and move from there. The prankish octogenarian turns to you. For this we wear clothes suggesting never been able to afford to retire, but still has pride. Wear your equivalent. You and the two sisters meet in one of the narrower streets of Spite. It's not so dimly lit that your passage through it is incongruous, but the poor lighting will go some way to conceal your identities. The prankish octogenarian kneels as if to tie her shoelace. People here have fewer preconceptions. It's harder to make them fool themselves. Be cautious. Her words are barely audible. Let's go with the jaded sister. The jaded sister watches the octogenarian duck down an alleyway and then beckons you. Your job starts when I've got the lock open. Stick close. A cat yowls. That's our cue. The jaded sister scuttles around the corner into an unguarded doorway and heads up the stairs. I'm sorry you were dragged into this. We had less dangerous targets before, she shakes her head. I'm sorry any of us is involved. The sister stops beside a door and kneels to work at the lock. We were old before the fall. My sister wanted to enjoy the neath. Why, it should be left to the young. Once she'd heard of the brandy, well, that was it. The sister grimaces. It's one thing to keep going, but to have to live forever like this. Can't imagine anything worse. But nor can I just abandon her to it. She bites her tongue to concentrate. The lock gives way with a sharp click. That's it. Let's go. The room has been decorated by someone with a fondness for pastoral scenes. One bookshelf is filled with pale porcelain figurines, shepherdesses in unrealistically charming frocks, a collection of sheep. On the wall is a series of pastorals, each depicting a startlingly rectangular cow. Does the owner yearn for the countryside of the surface? The desk suggests that whoever works there is efficient and neat. There is a pile of completed paperwork on one side. 2 pens have been lined up next to it. The ink is on a little mat, so as to not stain the woodwork. So we do our bit. The jaded sister checks behind the paintings. She pulls down one, revealing a heavy iron safe. She pulls down one, revealing a heavy cast iron safe. She cracks her knuckles, then starts to work on the brass dial. I'll get this. The safe swings open to reveal a pile of folders, a bundle of correspondence, and a leather-bound diary. The jaded sister throws the diary over to you. You'll be begging the boatman for a permanent spot aboard if you get caught with this. A sharp whistle comes up from the street below. That's Albert. We're short on time. You'd best take the window, then the roofs. The rest of us will be fine so long as there's nothing incriminating on us. She opens the window. I'll lock up on my way down. Shoo! You must transverse the roofs of London to get back to the bridge club without being seen. My character spends an alarmingly large amount of time on the roofs of London. You return to the club via its roof, sliding down the drain and leaping into the backyard. Your impressive dismount is entirely unwitnessed. You are the first to return. The long-haired cat is there, cleaning itself, but it refuses to acknowledge your arrival. Some minutes after you've arrived, there's a sharp knock on the back gate. A phlegmy cough. It's Albert. Let's open the gate. He'd probably appreciate the assistance. They'll be along any moment, I'm sure. He sits, takes a long breath. They'd locked back up. Were on their way when they had another one of their squabbles. They'd locked back up. Were on their way when they had another one of their squabbles. Albert grimaces. It drew attention. We're back! The prankish octogenarian and the jaded sister burst into the yard. The octogenarian turns to you. You have the diary, throw it here. The octogenarian starts thumbing through the little book. Albert catches your eye. That was excessively exciting. I'm going for a restorative. He meets your eye and nods towards the building. Want one? For the moment, the octogenarian has no need of you. You may as well. Albert heads over to a worn armchair next to a fire. He sinks into its deep cushions with a sigh and closes his eyes, just for a moment. Those two, he says, they'll be the death of me. But he is smiling. He leans forward and wrestles with a catch on the armchair's leg. A panel on its side drops open, revealing a half-full bottle of port and a stack of drinking glasses. Albert chuckles. I'm a fool for things with secrets. Once moved into an apartment just because I thought I could hide the bathroom behind a bookshelf. Oh, I can relate to that sentiment. Let's ask Albert why he sticks around the twins. He seems inclined to a slower pace of life than that they favour. Love, of course. Albert's face creases into a fond smile. But more than that, I admire them both. They were dealt one hand and decided to play a different game entirely. He twinkles. I'd say that they brought me life, but that's too literal. I was angry about being old. They taught me not to assume life's over before it is. If it's sometimes a little exhausting, well, the alternative is constant games of bridge. I don't want to live forever, but I don't want to give up before I'm done. A flicker of pain crosses his face. I just wish. My sweetheart's sister is struggling. She grew old with someone once. No matter what they try to show her, she doesn't believe you can find that again. How can I grow old with someone if I'm already there? Let's probe how working with the twins has changed his life. His is certainly not the traditional retirement. Albert does not immediately respond. Instead, he reaches for the port and refills his only half-empty glass. He swirls the drink, staring into it. I've lost those who'd only stick by me if I conformed to their expectations. He is quiet for a long moment. My family didn't like realizing I didn't need them to cuddle me. He doesn't look up, and I didn't enjoy realizing that they only cared for me while I was expected to die. He shrugs. Perhaps I'm being unkindly. They struggled with the implications of the fall, but I've never been able to swallow that disappointment. And now we have the option to begin the raid on the Widow's warehouse, but I think I will end this episode here. We did a couple of little heists, and we will pick up on the raid of the Widow's warehouse in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. Let me know if you did anything different, because obviously if you pick the octogenarian, I'm sure something different happens. But as always, I'll see you next time.